Sorry. Anywho. Hello, hi, what's up? Welcome to Sesona Buyeye. I'm Sesona the Gift. If you are new here and you're seeing my face for the very first time in your life, you're welcome. But also welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It is a new year. A lot of you guys will be starting a new journey into varsity and basically having to learn how to be independent. For some of you, you'll be thrown into the deep end in terms of responsibility and adulting. So I thought, why not just give some tips to first years who will be starting this journey. I'm going to be sharing some tips that either I wish I had known when I came into varsity, or tips that I have actually just learned through the years that have helped. Funny facts or fun facts, I don't know, but in first year my allowance when I was at student accommodation was like 500 rand. I don't know how I survived that. I genuinely do not know, but I did. So I'm going to share with you some tips that helped me survive on a 500 rand budget, and also like just after that on a NSFAS 1.5 budget. So in this video, I'm going to give you tips on how to basically do your groceries. So one thing that really helped me was so take some stuff from home, right? Like what I do, for example, I take the most expensive grocery items and like take those with me back to Res. Like, so I take like the basic meat. I don't take things that are going to like take a lot of my time, that are where I'm going to have to spend a lot of my time slaving over the stove, and I could be studying or could be out, you know. So I take things like mince, chicken, things like that, you know. Stew, no, don't do it. Especially if you live at a private student accommodation and you pay for your own electricity, don't do it, sweetie. Beef stew, it takes too long to get ready, you know. So don't be cooking things like stew, nomngqusho, and things like that. Like, don't do that to yourself, because now your electricity, you spent half the month's electricity on one meal. Now make a list. Always, always make a list. And how I go about making a grocery list is I think of the things I eat when I'm at home, right? Like the things that I normally like eat, things that I normally crave, eat. And then I think, like, once I've had those things down, I think about what I need now that I'm at Res, right? And then once you have your list written down, right, you Google is your friend, you know. So what you do is you think about the stores, the grocery stores that are around you, you know, the nearest ones that you go to. So for example, Pick n Pay, we have Checkers, we have Woolworths Food. So I think about those three and I'm like, okay, cool. How much is green pepper at Pick n Pay? How much is it at Woolworths? How much is it at Checkers, right? And well, green pepper is a bad example because it's about the same price in all of these stores, but there are certain things where they vary, like they're very what's the word? They vary just drastically. So you think about that, you write down each price from each store, right? And don't do a thing of like you Google chicken at Woolworths, then chicken at, you go through a list at one store, you go through a list at the other store, you go through a list at the other store, right? And then you compare the prices and you're like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna buy my sauces and my stuff at Checkers because there's either a sale, you know, at the time, and it's like going to be way cheaper than buying it at Woolworths, you know, I'm going to save. And honestly, even if it's just a rand that you save, that's a rand you can use to buy something else, okay? That's a rand that can go towards your nails, your hair, your anything, okay? I should have said this first actually, but it's always really cool if you can buy your non-perishables in bulk at the beginning of the year, and then you go from that. When it comes to fresh vegetables, you don't want to be that person who basically like buys her fresh veggies at the beginning of the month in bulk, and then it goes off because you don't cook much. So when it comes to fresh vegetables, make sure that first of all you're buying because you know that you're someone who you either buy it a lot because you know you're someone who cooks a lot, or you just buy according to how often you cook. The worst thing to do is to buy a big packet of onions, a big packet of tomatoes, and so on and so forth, only for it to go off because first of all the fridges at reses and just student accommodations in general, those girls do not keep your food fresh for a long time. Okay, those girls are weak, like they're just weak. If you're living in a shared unit, a shared accommodation, chances are the fridge you have is too small to accommodate each and every single person's individual groceries. So the best thing to do is to just get together with your flatmates or your mates that you're sharing with, and just be like, okay, let's do groceries together. Either do groceries together or just put money together, and then each month someone goes to buy groceries for the whole unit, because that will save space in the fridge, and it also saves you money. Ooh, when you're budgeting, right, when you're doing your list, never ever 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 exclude your electricity, okay, from your budget. Lastly, but always buy your groceries first. When your allowance comes in, either do your groceries first, or if you need to wait for your flatmates to get their allowances, put that money aside. That way you know how much you have for the rest of the month, either to spoil yourself, to treat yourself, to because number one, what it does is you know how much money you have left, but also it helps because now if your money does like finish on groceries, at least for that month you're sorted with food. You're sorted. Even if there's no money in your account, at least there's food, at least there's electricity, so you don't have that worry of like, oh my gosh, I spent all my money on junk food in the first week of the month, and now there's nothing in the fridge, there's nothing in the cupboards, the electricity is like a quarter to finished type of vibes, so that's always important. That's all for the tips I have for grocery shopping when you're in res. Honestly, like I said, in first year, I didn't know any of this, right? And so it actually made it very awkward because I had 500 Rand for the month, right? If I knew these tips in first year, I really think I would have been able to kind of, even though 500 Rand is not much, I think I would have been able to kind of come up with some money left over at the end of the month, because I had a whole lot of a whole lot of month at the end of my money. Let me know if this is helpful, right? I will be dropping other tips as well when it comes to what you need for first year, what you need to know, just living in varsity or just being in varsity, and so on and so forth. Let me know if this was very helpful to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed this far and you've come this far, subscribe now. I'll give you a chance. Thank you so much for subscribing. Don't forget to like the video, comment down below if this was helpful, and see you next time.